Hi students, today I am going to explain next chapter, chapter 2, Kingdom Classification. First chapter was explained in the other videos, you can check it out. So what is Kingdom Classification? On our planet Earth, there are so many living beings and we cannot just read all the living beings at a time. So the classification is made to make our study easy. So let's see. Ever since planet Earth has been evolving from its primitive form to its present form. So from the very primitive form means very old days to now, Earth is evolving continuously. Endless form of life have developed. So many forms of life which is not ending. New forms are evolving still. So endless forms of life have developed. Many were lost due to the inability to adapt to changing conditions. Because some living beings cannot adjust or cannot adapt to the changing conditions, they didn't exist. They were lost and were not even known till they got extinct. And some beings, they got extinct. After they got extinct, we came to know that they are there then. So it is very difficult to study these all individual organisms and their characteristics. So we arranged the organisms in the classification to read easily. Say, complex system of classification is needed to differentiate organisms with distinct features and relate them on the basis of common characteristics. So we need a very complex system of classification to differentiate these organisms, and also with a distinct features means different features, and we have to relate them on their characteristics, common characteristics. So following reasons have been checked for need of classification. Why we want classification? If they ask what is the reason for the classification, we write these reasons. Each organism is such an endless list of organisms, can't be studied individually. So there are so many crores of types of organisms, we cannot study it individually. So we have to group it to study easily. So grouping of organisms having similar features can be studied easily. So whatever are the group of organisms, they have similar features, same features, they can be studied easily. Then identification of an organism can be done simply. So we can identify the organisms. Identification of organisms can be done simply according to the group or subgroup it has been placed in. So according to the group or subgroup which we placed it, so we can identify the organism very easily, and we can know the interrelation between different categories of animals can be easily studied. One organism, how it is interrelated to another organisms can be studied easily. It also helps to obtain an idea of whole range of diversity of organisms. We will also get a full idea of how many diversities of organisms. Diversity means different types of organisms are present. Then, so the basis of classification is either natural or artificial. So classification is either natural way or artificial. The classification system of organism is said to be artificial when it is based on one or more morphological characters which help to identify the organisms on their habits to classify them. So depending on what is artificial, when the classification is based on the morphological characteristics. So to identify the organisms on their habitats to classify them. So I am telling classification. What is the definition of classification? What is classification? Let's see. Classification is defined as the arrangement of organisms into groups or subgroups according to their characteristics. So whatever are the characteristics, and placing them in a hierarchy and studying their relationship. Hierarchy means in a steps way. So classification is defined as the arrangement of organisms into groups or subgroups according to their characteristics and placing them in the hierarchy and studying their relationships. That is classification. So what are the advantages of classification? So based on certain characters, living organisms can be classified into two major groups. What are they? Plants, animals. Plant kingdom, animals kingdom. So classification of organisms will have so many advantages, like we know that it will make our study easy, simpler and easier. So classification of living organisms into various groups makes their study simpler and easier. It will make our study very easy. Then it helps in easy identification of the organisms. We can easily identify, and also helps in establishing relationship between different organisms. So we can find out the relationship between different organisms easily. Then, so the organisms were divided into categories such as whether they live on land or in water or in air, etc. So depending on where they live. The system continued upon 17th century. Here they started at 17th century. However, it put even the organisms with vast differences in the same category only. So first they divided the organisms based on where they live, on the land, on the water and air. It continued so many years, but after seeing that so many organisms with so many differences, they kept in the same category like fish, water corals, snakes, starfish, octopus. So many differences are there in their body structure, how they live and all. Because they live in water, they kept in one group. So they are included in the same group. But it is correct? No. That's why hence the system could be further continued for reference in the advanced study of organism and their characteristics. So they thought it is not correct to keep all these diverse organisms in the same group. That's why they want to study still more, further, more and advanced study of these organisms and their characteristics. Then further attempts were made by scientists and even biologists to develop a new system of classification. The system was more complex and it is also very elaborate, as it involved classification of organisms on the basis of various similarities and dissimilarities. Similarities means how similar they look, and how dissimilar, opposite of similar, they look, they existed between them. So on these all characteristics, if they have same characteristics, then they will be kept in one group. So it was based on the characteristics which would remain uniform. Here they gave, did you know, Aristotle, who is father of zoology. Zoology means study of animals. Who is the father of zoology? Aristotle. Then Theophrastus, he is father of botany. What is botany? Study of plants. Then, so here see, natural system of classification. They divided, see, depending upon the cell structures. So in the cells, how the structure is there, into prokaryotic cell, eukaryotic cell organisms, two groups, and body structure, how complex it is. Only one cell, unicellular, many cells are there, multicellular. And depending upon the nutrition, how they occur. So if they can prepare their own food, they are autotrophic. If they depend on autotrophs, heterotrophic. Again in heterotrophs, consumers, which directly eat the other organisms, and decomposers, which eat the dead and decaying organisms. Then organization of different body parts also they divided, and other methods like presence of cilia, presence of flagella, presence of pigments, cell wall, etc. Other methods are used to classify. Like this they gave. Then first we will see, depending upon the cell structure, prokaryotic, eukaryotic. What are prokaryotic cells? Pro means primitive, very old type. Karyotic means nucleus, means very old fashioned nucleus is present. These are very primitive cells, means very old type of cells. These cells do not contain a well defined nucleus because they are primitive. The nucleus is not well defined. Cell organelles with definite boundary are absent. All the cell organelles don't have membranes. They are all absent. Cellular material is just suspended in the cell matrix. In the cell matrix, all are suspended like that. No, not definitely all the cell organelles are present. Then, what are eukaryotic cells? Eukaryotic. Eu means very prominent, newly, then karyotic means nucleus. So, are the ones which have well demarcated cell organelles. All the cell organelles are very clear, and they are surrounded by cell organelle membranes, and the hereditary material is contained inside the nucleus. The nucleus is also well defined. Hereditary material is present. So then like that the prokaryotic, depending on the cell structure, prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells they gave. Here see, the unicellular organisms means one cell organisms having eukaryotic structure, no form kingdom Protista. So first form is Protista. In this single-celled organism with eukaryotic cells are present. Organisms which have prokaryotic cells form kingdom Monera. So eukaryotic Protista, prokaryotic Monera. Then here plants are also classified on the level of their organization of their body into different groups. We know plants are again classified on the level of organization like herbs, shrubs, trees, like this. Animals also classified depending upon their groups and subgroups depending on their characteristics, like those of like plants only. So then this is over cell structure, prokaryotic, eukaryotic. Then complexity of body structure, unicellular, multicellular. Let's see, unicellular means only having one cell. Single cell will perform all the functions. Then what are multicellular? Having many cells, and there will be a division of labor. Means the work is divided among all the cells. So the cells are specialized to form tissues. In the first chapter I told about tissues. So cells are grouped together to form tissues to perform some specific functions. These tissues again group together to form organs. These organs again group together to form organ system. These all organ systems work together in an organism. The whole organization of body is well organized and complex. So in multicellular organisms, all this will be present: cells, so tissues, so organs from organ systems. So all this organization will be there, and it will be very complex. Then depending upon how the nutrition, how they take nutrition, there are two types I told: autotrophs and heterotrophs. Autotrophs are auto means automatically, trophs food means they prepare their own food. So the plants which produce their own food by performing the process of photosynthesis. By means of photosynthesis, we know like plants, they will prepare their own food. They are called autotrophs. Then heterotrophs. Hetero means dependency. For what? Troph, food. So like consumers, decomposers, they will feed on autotrophs and also other animals also like heterotrophs for food. So they depend on plants and animals for their food. And decomposers, what they will do? They will feed on the dead and decaying organic plants. When the plants and animals, when they die and they decay, so that will be eaten by the decomposers. They are also called scavengers. Then body parts of plants are so designed that they help them to anchor into the soil. We know that the plants are designed so specially because they should stand in the soil. The roots should be fixed correctly. So the body parts of animals, they will be fixed. No, they need locomotion. So they will move in search of food, shelter, and protection from predators. So body design of plants and animals will be very different, very largely. They differ very largely. So the characteristics such as body design and functions on the basis of which organism have been classified have evolving over a period of time. So depending upon the body design and what functions they are doing, so our organisms are again classified. The body design and functioning will be keep varying, though very slowly. They will be varying, and we cannot feel also or detect it in the same generation only. From generation to generation, so the body design will be changing and the function will be changing. However, if we check and record these functions and forms, we will find some difference from the present form to the last form. So we shall find the present form of organization is the consequence of accumulation of number of changes. So we can see all these changes were accumulated for a period of time, and during many generations it accumulated, and we'll see the present form is a different form. So these changes in the living organisms which occur with time are called evolution. So what is evolution? So changes occurring in the living organisms along with the time is called evolution. This was first proposed by Darwin in 1859 in his book Origin of Species. Then these are organisms which have not changed a lot during the course of evolution. Some organisms are there for how many years also there will not be considerable change. So such organisms will have very ancient body design and they are called primitive or older organisms, lower organisms. The design of such organisms are simple. So because they didn't change for so many years, they have ancient body design, and they will have the design will be very simple, like Selaginella. There are some organisms which have advanced and more complex body design. In some organisms, the changes are very fast and the complex body design is formed and the functions also evolved, and they are called advanced organism or higher organisms. So evolution is also a process which brings a change in the existing form of species and adds to the diversity. Diversity means a difference in the group of organisms. Then the organisms which have divided into different groups or categories based on their fundamental similarities or dissimilarities and their interrelationships. So organisms have been classified into different categories depending on their similarities, how similar they are, or how dissimilar they are, what differences are they having, or what is the relationship between them. Like this, organisms in lower different groups are further clubbed together into large groups. Lower groups are clubbed, joined together, form a big group on the basis of different similarities. So this helps to develop a hierarchy of classification. By doing this, we got a hierarchy, means steps of classification consisting of different level of organisms. Each level or category is having specific name for the which helps in the classification of organisms easier. Then, so the system was introduced by Linnaeus and is discussed below. So Linnaean hierarchy, it is called Linnaean hierarchy. So Linnaeus was given as father of taxonomy. What is taxonomy? Taxonomy is the study of classification. So it is a subject which have the study of classification. So father of taxonomy is Linnaeus and his hierarchy is called Linnaean hierarchy. According to him, see the steps: species, genus, family, order, class, phylum or division, kingdom. Like this they are categorized. Then here we didn't see the, did you know? Let's see. A major geographical area on earth such as warm and humid tropical zone which is rich in biodiversity and contains extreme large number of species. So in this geographical area there will be so many number of species. So it is called mega diversity center. Mega means big, diversity means different type of animals center. So there are 12 mega diversity centers across the globe. In the globe, so many mega diversity centers are there in Brazil, like Brazil, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Mexico, Zaire, Madagascar, Australia, India, China, Indonesia, Malaysia. So more than half of world's biodiversity lies in these mega diversity centers only. In these centers, so many diversified organisms are present. And then it is estimated that there are at least 10 million species, out of which 1.8 million have been explored. So 10 million species are there on our earth. Only we know 1.8 million. So we explored only 1.8 million species. And then Linnaeus defined organisms into two kingdoms. What are they? In 1758, plant kingdom, animal kingdom. So hierarchical of human being. So human beings hierarchy they gave. We are considered under kingdom Animalia, animals we are, and phylum Chordata, class Mammalia, order Primata, family Hominidae, genus Homo, species Sapiens. So this is the classification of human beings. So let's see species. It is the lowest category of classification. It is the lowest category. It is also called the basic unit of classification. It consists of morphological similar individuals which have descended from common ancestors. So they all came from same ancestors, common ancestors. This is so the organisms inbreed and reproductively isolated from those of other species. In this, these organisms can interbreed in itself and reproduce the species, and they are isolated from other species like Panthera, Tigris. Then next is genus. It consists of related species. One group of species, more species called groups, and they are also from common ancestors. The species resemble each other in many features and differ in some of them, like Panthera. Next, family. So family consists of group of one or more related genera. A group of species, genus. A group of genus members, family. So for example, animals of genus Panthera like lion, leopard, tiger, etc. and animals genus Felis, cat, have been placed in family Felidae. So all these come, lion, tiger, leopard, cat, all this will come into the same family Felidae, because all they have common feature like retractile claws. Claws will be present. Then order. The group consists of one or more families together is called a order. So the family Felida I told here, and family Canidae, dogs. All these are carnivores. They will eat the other animals. So they are kept in one order because both the families are carnivores and they have well developed canines. So that's why they kept in one order. Then what is that order now? Carnivora, because they are carnivores. Then class. A group of related orders form a class. Then phylum. Phylum is, when we talk about animals, we have to say phylum. If we talk about plants, we can say division. So phylum is a group of related classes. So many classes grouped together for phylum, or we can say division. Then kingdom. In biological classification, kingdom is the highest group which consists of so many phyla or division. So kingdom Animalia or kingdom Plantae, like this. So this is the 7 levels they classified. So in the initial classification, Linnaeus divided all the organisms into 2 kingdoms, kingdom Plantae and Animalia. But there are also plant kingdom and animal kingdom respectively. The system of classification continued to remain valid for quite some time. Linnaeus classified into 2 plant kingdoms, like a plant kingdom and animal kingdom, 2 kingdoms. It was valid for some days. However, some drawbacks were pointed out in the system, which necessitated the need for modification of it. After that, so many modifications we have to make because of drawbacks present in there. These drawbacks arose due to the discovery of organisms such as euglena. So when they discovered euglena, viruses, they will not fit in either plants or animals, because the bacteria and fungi were placed in kingdom Plantae in linear classification, though they possess some characteristics of animals too. So they kept in plants, but they are like animals. So after this gradual modification, finally in year 1969, Robert Whittaker, so he introduced a 5 kingdom classification. This was now present also, this is working, and it is considered as proper classification. So what is the classification to prokaryotic organisms, fungi, unicellular eukaryotic organisms, plants and animals. So 5 kingdoms they gave: kingdom Monera, kingdom Protista, kingdom Fungi, kingdom Animalia, kingdom Plantae, like this. What the classification based on different characteristics like body organization, how it is, whether it is unicellular or multicellular, how the cell structure is there, whether they are prokaryotes or eukaryotes, whether they are having cell wall or not, how the nutrition is there, whether they are autotrophs or heterotrophs or both, phylogenic relationship between organisms, how the relationship between them organisms are there. So depending upon all these characteristics, so Whittaker identified 5 kingdoms: Monera, Protista, Fungi, Animalia and Plantae. So in the next video we will see kingdom Monera and we will see the differences also. Next part will be in the next video. Thank you.